G'day, Richard Musgrave-Evans here again and welcome back. Today we're doing something a little different. We're down the coast, Sellicks Beach, South Australia. Fantastic location. Now this beach has a lot to offer. Beautiful sand, beautiful waters and fantastic, rugged coastal cliff scenery. These cliffs have been shaped and formed over millions of years with the finesse and sensuality of a Rodin and Camille sculpture. This truly is a magical place. Today I'll be working right on the coast, and also I'll be doing something a little different. I'll be working on board instead of canvas or linen, and I'll be using a combination of brushes and palette knife instead of just the palette knife. A little bit different to what I normally do. I'm going to paint on a board this time, and I've got it primed white as you typically would instead of just using raw linen like I normally do. I'm using palette knives, but today I'm also going to mix it up and do something a bit different and also use a few brushes, and I'll show you how I do that and explain what I do along the way. I find if I'm painting on a board, sometimes that softness is harder to get with that. It's easy, maybe get that and soften it. So combination of both today. Right. Now I've just blocked in the composition so I know what I'm doing, and then I'm about to get into it. And as usual, I'll go for the biggest differences between the subject and the board, or the painting, or whatever. Okay. Now, what I might do is get that water in. That water today is beautiful. There's a beautiful blue and turquoise going on, so I think I'll mix some of that up. Now I'm actually, hang on, just wait there for a minute. Just going to put a bit more paint down. I forgot to put every colour. I haven't got a cad orange today like I normally do, so what I'm going to do is cad red and cad yellow, and obviously you can mix that and make it orange, so I'll just pop that in now. Alright. And the thing about this beach is you're allowed to drive on it, and as you can see right there, there's some cars coming. Fantastic. Alright, here we go. Right, some cobalt blue and white, viridian green. Just see what I've got there. I'll give that a test. Put a little bit on. Just needs a bit more of a green touch, a bit more of a turquoise. Throw that all in like so. Get a look at that. There we go. I'm going to make a bit of a wobbling sound by the sound of this board, but I will. So I'm basically blocking in now with a palette knife, but I'll get the brushes out later. Okay, there we go. Have a look. A little turquoise in here, you can see what I'm doing yet. Right up against the edge of that cliff, I'll just throw a bit more of those beautiful blues. Now, what's going on as the water gets deeper, it's going more towards a cobalt blue and a magenta, more of a purple. For in the deeper water you've got some seaweed and stuff like that, so there's more of a magenta and blue going on there. I'll have a look at that. Too much white, so I'm trying to darken it a bit. Not too bad. Right. As it gets shallow, there's a nice pale blue, which is the sky reflecting into the water. It's a fairly calm day today, so there's a lot of that pale blue sky reflection. Stick a bit of that on, let's have a look. There we go. Mix it up a bit more. Just bung it all in roughly for now. Work it out later on. Slide that across like that. Let's get some paper towel. That'll do for that. Now I'm going to mix up a bit of sky, or colours of sky today. The burnt sienna with that. The blue. More blue. White. Cobalt blue and white and a bit of burnt sienna. Mix, 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 mix. It's a bit too green, that. Sometimes that happens, you end up not quite getting it right. Let's try again. Takes a lot of paint doing that. Let's use a bit of that into this. There we go, there we go. Just get it in there. Try and get this whiteboard covered as quickly as I can. Get the whiteboard covered as quickly as I can so I can assess the colours better once it's all the white's gone. Well, enough of the white's gone anyway. A bit more blue as it goes up, a bit darker. It is different painting on the board. I can really feel it is not flexing. With this knife it is not flexing, so it's harder to actually apply the paint. As you can see, it's harder to get the paint on. Now I'll go a bit darker. It's harder to get the paint on, but once I get the brush out it should be right. Nice and dark at the top. How much fun is this, eh? How much fun is this? Okay, now let's go on. There's a bit of a coastal haze right on the horizon there, so that in mind, it's going to make a slightly greyer washed out version down low with a bit of magenta, maybe a bit of that burnt sienna stuff from earlier. Have a look. More magenta than that. That just kind of greys it off a bit and kills the colour. Down low there's more atmosphere, so the brightness is not quite as full on. Right now, fun stuff. I'm going to try a brush. I haven't done this for ages. Let's try a brush and soften it up. Hold on to that. Now you can see the brush is much quicker at blending the colours. Just mess it around like so. Go in just the way you want, just to get it to mix up a bit. Pull down, not quite touching the edges yet. So, let's have a look at that, let's get that up there. Let's colour in for a while. Colour and blend. Right. Let's keep on blending for a while. I just want to get this sky nice and soft to contrast the ruggedness of the cliffs to come. Yeah. Right. Do this water now. I mean, you can see what I'm doing. Am I getting in the way too often? I might be. Ooh. Long straight strokes like that. That'll really soften that water. I just jub these into the sand because they stay standing upright then, so which is good. Let me clear a spot here. mixed up with a clean palette knife, if I can find one. Clean knife. You can see what I'm doing, I hope, yep. Mix up some of that yellow and red, cad yellow and cad red, to make that orange that I wanted. Heck, that's a bright colour. It is a bright colour. Look at that. Beautiful. That is fantastic. That is singing, stinging. Right, I got a bit of that. Okay. Now, a bit of burnt sienna, a bit of white. Just going to knock up a bit of the cliff colour, put a bit of that beautiful orange I just made in. There you go there, let's have a look. Just lightly touching, letting the trying to get that coastline in now. Knock it back a bit as it goes further off. There's a bit of blues in that, kill it off a bit. Just kill the intensity, the chromatic saturation of the weaker colours, a bit more white. So the cliffs are kind of a weaker version of themselves back here. Right. Let's get this big knife out. I'm mixing the beautiful burnt siennas, a bit of that orange, a bit of yellow ochre, half mixing everything. There goes the car. Lightly touching, going down. Where's that cliff going to come to about there? Let's get a bit of draftsmanship going on here. Colouring in over there. Colouring into the edges. Because I'm on a whiteboard, I need to kind of colour it in a bit more. If you've got the linen, like I normally do, you can get away with leaving it exposed, but the white shows up a bit more than that, so you have to do a few other things sometimes, like lock it all in. I might leave a bit of white for the waves and stuff like that. Now, I've just mixed up a kind of strawy, weak chroma colour, a bit more green, trying to knock it back a bit for those grassy hills there. Not too far off what I want. Just getting a bit of draftsmanship going here, so just taking my time a bit, because this is where the whole thing starts to come together. You've got to get the shapes of the hills. Get the shapes of the hills kind of right, within reason. Within reason. Doesn't have to be exactly what you're looking at there, just the general vibe. Okay, now I'll knock it back a bit with a bit more blues and magentas, because it's going off into the distance now. Here we go, let's have a look. A bit warmer than that, so a bit more magenta. A bit more white, just going by feel basically. That's it, that's a nice key down. Nice keyed down colour there, that's good. Alright. Got to work out where that horizon is. I want it to be kind of straight enough. Let's have a look at that. Right, you can see straight away. Gotta watch out doing that. These knives get sharp over the years by rubbing. The other day I was going like this and sliced my finger. Taking a bit of paint off by pulling back up with the knife. There goes another car. much fun is this, eh? Beautiful day, painting on the beach, cars gone past. Great stuff, great stuff. There's a brush. Just going to clean up that edge there. That will do for now. Put that brush in here. Right, get some white out. Plenty of white. I'm going to paint that sand now. And the yellow ochre. Heaps of mix in here. Mix, mix, mix. Yellow ochre into that blend. It does feel weird working on board, I tell you. Been doing so much clear prime Belgian linen that this feels odd. Still okay, just different like this. Get that in, get all that paint on. Oops, what's going on there? Just about cut the board with this knife. I was saying that so blinking sharp. Colour in around the edges. Around the edges, look at that, yeah. Need some more paint. Keep going with paint on sienna. Look at that dead blue from over there. White, yellow ochre. Half mix, make a big beautiful brew. Thick and chunky for the beach sand. More white. Cleaner version over here. White and yellow ochre. I'm going through the white too. So up here where it's a lighter tone because that's the high tide mark up here. Tide comes right into where I am, but it doesn't quite get up there, so you've got that high tide, lighter tone. A bit of rock up here, so it's gone darker again. Work out. I'll stand back and have a look at that. All good, all good. Flies. There's even a fly here on the coast. Blimey. Lighten that tone a bit. Just a nice reflection there. I'm just trying to put that in. I might just throw this on in the bin. Okay, what do we got? Piece of paper. Just rub through it. Establish where you want the water line to be. There's a bit of seaweed. There's a low tide rocky bank out there. We've got some seaweed attached to rocks and whatever. And the tide is on its way out, which is good. Which means I'm not going to get stranded here. I'm just putting those low tide those low tide rocky outcropping things up there. Stick them right out. They're going out further and further all the time. And I can see it's a bit higgledy-piggledy there, so straighten her up. Right. No matter if you go too far, you can just work it out later. I'll just stand back and have a look. Right. Might just take a bit of paint off there. Look at that. Just with the brush, pull through like so. With this sand to make it all blend, because I've got brush up here, got brush in the water, I might throw a bit of brush in here. And that is what you call a brush. Just initially get the paint smoothed a bit and then vary your strokes. Don't just make the same brush strokes everywhere. Don't make all your brush strokes too long. Nice short ones, jab, 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 give the illusion of atmosphere. Colour in around the edges. Feel the composition as you go. Really where you want everything to be. Let's have a look. That to be more like that. Let's have a look. That's all good. Going to get rid of the white here. A little bit of delicate colouring in. Hang on, what do we got? Change palette knives. Get some of that foliage. I'll stay with this one for a minute. Just want to pull through a little bit. That'll be that. Back into this one. Okay. Let's get some of the draftsmanship of these hills with the brush. Yep. And up this way again. It drops right down then. Hang on. Drop that down like that maybe. Pull that through. Soften. Just see that water. I'll stand out of the way. Just trying to get the draftsmanship of that water so I get the horizon right. Just dropping a little bit on that side, which is better. Okay, let's have a look. Biggest difference is right. Clean up that edge a bit. Okay. Mix up a bit of half colour, a bit of brightness. There's some good colour variances in those cliffs. You've got beautiful ochres and reds and browns and whatever. So, light tone over there, like an accent right here. So I'll throw that in for starters. So pulling down with the knife like so, there's a bit more over here. Put that in. And so on and so on. Now, go for a bit more of that sting, that beautiful orangey colour that I made. Half mix that into it. Give you some of those beautiful highlights, just lightly touching. Now if you put a bit of magenta with that mix, a bit of blue, you'll actually just kill it off so you can do the distance. That's how you make things recede into the distance. Just knock it back a bit, change the colour and tone a bit. There's a bit of green there, right, mix up a green. Yellow ochre, a bit of that blue maybe. Some salt bush stuff here, just lightly touch it in. It's too much blue, I haven't mixed it enough yet. Hang on. Let's mix it a bit more. On this cliff, there is salt bush and stuff like that, so just painting a bit of that in. It's getting quite hot here, I'm starting to sweat it up. Slightly drag here and there. The car goes past, I'll have a look at that. Now, those cliffs, I don't know if you want to have a look. Those cliffs over there, there's some beautiful pure yellow ochre, like ochre cliffs I guess you could say. So, we'll get some of that. Really rich, high key yellow ochre and white. So there's plenty of white with the yellow ochre. Just lightly dragging it in here and there. That's the thing about painting on site. You take a photo, you won't see all the subtle colours in that cliff. All you'll see is just general bleached outness. And when you're standing here in life, you get to see all those subtle colours, which is great. Okay. Knocking up a foliage colour here. For the tops of those hills, there's a few trees up there. Maybe a bit darker. A few running here, a few running there. Right now a bit blue off of the distance, there's a bit of blue over here, so I'll just mix that in. These trees over here. In this headland have a lot more blue because they're further away. Fine lines. Bit of this, bit of that, let's have a look at that. It felt good, but when I stood back then, very briefly, I did see, I'm going to get rid of that. I did see that here is not quite what I want, so I'm going to take that paint off and change the shape of this area. Take that, pull some of that low tide mark. See, I'm taking paint off, and the blue that I stuck underneath, the turquoise blue, is underneath. So when I pull it like that, I'm getting straight back into it, instantly creating rock pools. Another beautiful thing I just saw. She's just getting exciting. Hang on. As the tide's going out, I'm getting some more seaweed. So magenta and blue. This helps make the water look more transparent too. A bit more white in that. Just lightly stick that magenta and blue in with white. The seaweed. A few seaweed patches here and there. Right, now throw that one back in there. Okay, what do I want to mix up here? Some more beach sandy area, so white and yellow ochre. Just want to clarify around the edge up here. I'm drawing the eye to that area, that's the focal area, that clip that's jutting out here. So, there's some more light tones there. So I'm putting them in, aren't I? There goes another car. All through. All going good. Get rid of this mucky patch. What is that Plein? What's that good on it? Bit of dust. Bit of outback dust, red dust on the brush. Let's just get out of all the mess I'm in. Just want to lightly brush through this, just take the edge off it a bit, soften the edge as it pulls through like so. Just soften it, it helps it recede into the distance. Pull through it, pull through, lightly pull. The brush is great for softening. You don't necessarily have to use the brush for painting, you can paint with a knife like I do, but the brush is fantastic just to pull through and soften. And add a bit of variety of marks. Now you can just like mix the marks up a bit. You've got the combination of palette knife and brush, wiping it clean each time. If you've got a lot of long strokes, it's good to break them up with cross strokes like that, just to stop the eye from flowing too long. Keep them short and active. Keep the marks short. You can paint long for a while, but if it's too long your eye wanders around that long mark. Just shorten them up a bit, break them up. That's a nice long mark, it's beautiful. Can't stop doing that, I'm enjoying that, that's good. Now I'm going to break it up a bit. Just going to neaten things up a bit here and there. Do wipe this clean again, just do a little bit of a pull through here. Oops, not that much, hang on. Do that way now, buggered it, oh yeah. Ugh. That's alright, you can have that and then you can do that again. There. Take some of that paint off like I was doing earlier to clarify the edge. Yep. Too bad. I'll stand back and have a look. Get a bit more of a sting in some of these clippers. This clip up here is absolutely got some fantastic colours. It's the bee's knees of colour, so throw a bit in. Adds a bit more power to the painting. Beautiful acres and whatever. Yeah. Like my look. just creating a real defined edge here, because that's one of the focal areas, like I said earlier. Really playing up on that beauty there. Burying the marks again with these beautiful yellow ochre cliffs. It's just fantastic being out in nature and painting. Beach down here, there's a beautiful beach down low here, so I get that palette knife on edge. Stick that beautiful beach in the distance like that. Yellow ochre and white. Break that line up a bit to add a bit of variety. Now there's some beautiful surf, which I haven't put much of the surf in yet, but why not just start now? A bit of yellow ochre, a bit of white. There's a tiny bit of yellow ochre left on it, that won't hurt. It creates the illusion of sunlight. Slightly drag with the knife on edge. Through. Right, get some beautiful turquoise and yellow ochre in the brush. Just going to paint some of those breaking waves. What colour are they? They're yellow ochre and viridian green, so it's kind of an olivey turquoise. Each beach has a different colour depending on the colour of the sand. As the waves stand up, you can see the colour of the sand coming through. It's very light sand, so you're getting beautiful. Have a look what I've got. A bit more green, you're getting beautiful coloured waves as they break. A bit less yellow ochre, a bit more green. A little bit of that in. Another car, how much fun. Good. Now the waves further out are a little bit more, because the water's deeper, you've got a bit more blue and green rather than yellow ochre and green. They're a little bit bluer because the water's deeper. Yeah, a little bit deeper than that, so I'll go a bit more blue. Look at that. I tell you what though, I've got to admit I am enjoying doing a seascape. I used to do a lot of seascapes, Kangaroo Island and whatever, even Sydney Harbour, a lot of that. But for a while I've just been concentrating on the outback stuff, which is great. But I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying being down the beach and painting this beautiful subject. Okay, now I'm going to get some white and have some fun. What I've got is the water, very soft, the sky is soft. The beach here, sand, and it's got a few little pebbles, so it's nice and chunky. So let's contrast the softness with some chunkiness. Some really thick, chunky paint. Paintings have more power if they have contrast. Hard against soft, gloss against brown, blue against orange, like contrasting. Thick paint against thin paint, all that stuff. What do we got? Very lightly pull through, capturing a few highlights and accents. There's some beautiful coloured little pebbly rocks. Lightly throw some of them if I can, not too many. A few more up here. Right, just get the, after looking at that, it's all good, but I just want to get this brush out, introduce a little bit more of that turquoise. As the sun's getting higher, the water's becoming more turquoise, so look, just on the edge of this cliff here, getting that beautiful colour. It's really bright now. I find the higher the sun is, that's why in summer in Australia you really get turquoise. In the winter not so much because the sun's more of a low angle, like a setting sun almost. When the sun gets right overhead in summer, it shines straight down to the bottom of the white sand. It's bang! Turquoise. And just out a bit further here, there's a little bit more blue in that mix. And the blue again, and a bit of magenta for the weed. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm probably standing in the way, aren't I? Look at that beautiful seaweed colour on the bottom again. A little bit standing up in the waves here. One other thing I just noticed then, as the tide is going out, that little rock pulley headland starting to create nice little shadows as well. That'll help draw your eye there with the dark tones as well as the light tones. So that is the keynote of the painting, so stick some in. Seaweed on the high tide mark too, so I'm going to mix up a bit of a, you know, whatever brown seaweed colour. Going on here. Magenta, burnt sienna half mix. Just throw a few of those rocks in, a little bit more. Hang on, I'm a bit too light there, knock it back. Lighter. Just trying to build some of that beautiful textural, a lot of erosion marks there over the years. Erosion on that cliff, so I'm just kind of building in the beautiful erosion marks. There's a couple of little buildings up on the hill over there. I might just bung them in for a bit of interest. I'll go to a smaller knife. This little one's good for painting rooftops and whatever. Just on an angle like that, just knocking a few roofs. There's one up here. Nice. Throw that one in. Adds a bit of contrast between broad marks and refine marks to give much more of the illusion of detail. So a few rooftops here and there is certainly not going to hurt. I can see those cars like we've been talking about, but I'm choosing not to put them in because I just love nature, and cars are not really nature, are they? Bit more of those crazy accent colours. Beautiful coastline, I tell you what. This would have to be one of the nicest coastlines in Australia. They use this coastline for a lot of car advertising. You see a bit of magenta there, so I love magenta. If I can see it, I'm going to put it in. Just down around the base here. Not that much, it's a bit lighter in tone, a bit more white. Here we go. Let's have a look. Right. A little bit of that magenta I can see over here. There. Clean that roof there. What was that? Get the finger. It's alright. Maybe do that roof again, I reckon. Now take a little bit off the bottom. That's it. That's not it. No, well, hang on. Finger again. Right. Right. I just want to put a little bit more steam in that water. It's just becoming a beautiful colour. We're almost there, but that water is such a beautiful colour as the sun's coming up. Just want to introduce a bit more of that beautiful turquoise. Why not, eh? Why not? Yeah, all good, all good. Not too bad, just got to go a little bit higher. I'm just trying to get the horizon correct. Do it now, don't worry about it. It'll be a problem later on if I don't get it correct now. So. Okay. Look at that. That's all fun and games. Put this away and have a quick look. Now, just got to look at the composition and think, what do I think about that? I don't mind it, but I'd like it to be softer here. So I'm going to just drag the palette knife through and just soften it a bit. Just blending some of those colours. Blending some of the colours and adding abstractions with different marks and whatever. There, when I stand back, it needs to be softened a bit, so I'm going to pull it through like that. This hardening and softening and just composing at the end is just personal preference, really. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm just sort of trying to feel what I think would be a nice, pleasing shape. So I'm painting what I'm looking at, but I'm also painting the composition. You've got to remember that. So I'm doing both. That definitely looks like that, but I've been making slight alterations to get the composition to flow. I think that's about it. I've got a bug in there, so yeah, that's good. Keep that one. Alright, well there you go. So that's a different way. You've seen me paint in a slightly different technique with obviously definitely a different subject matter. So you can see I'm still playing with, I love those cliffs. I love to use orange and cliff faces and stuff like I do in the Flinders Ranges. So I've happened to find a beach that has the same thing, so that's great. At the same time, you've got the contrast between chunkiness, look at that, chunkiness, and then tranquility. So it's not all just chunk, chunk, chunk. There's also restful areas. So it's a contrast between full on and relaxed. Alright, that'll pretty much do it. What I'll do is I'll get the camera off and I'll let you have a look. No worries, thank you. Okay, well there you go, the end of another video. Now remember, if you like the video, to like the video. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Forward it on to your friends, spread the good word. Till next time, we'll see you later.